So I got my hands on an invite. Is the OnePlus One for you? What's going on, everybody? My name is Tomas, and in this one I want to unbox and take some first impressions of the OnePlus One. I was lucky enough to get my hands on an invite, and from there it just spiraled out of control, and I ordered this thing. I'm going to unbox it quickly. One thing that surprised me quite a bit is the packaging. I was more impressed by the feel of this red texture than I was actually the phone. That just tells you what kind of attention to detail OnePlus One is doing with their product. I've heard some horror stories with their customer service. That's a whole nother beast that I haven't even dealt with, so I won't speak to it. You get the wall wart separate. The two boxes are separate, so you get the wall wart in one, and then the phone and USB cable and the SIM injection tool in the other. So this video is more of a first impressions video. I just want to talk about some pros and cons that are particular to me. They may be similar to you, and they may not be, but I want you to take into consideration, do you really want this? I mean, is it something that you're willing to wait for regarding an invite? Or can you go ahead and order a Nexus 5? Still one of the best smartphones of this time period. Let's talk about that. So some of the pros regarding the OnePlus One is, first of all, is cost. $349 USD off contract. That's unheard of for $349 off contract, and it comes to about $353 with shipping. You can get a 64 gigabyte handset that has premium specifications. In continuance with the pros would be the build quality. This thing is fantastically constructed. I was freaking mind blown when I opened this thing. This thing just feels great in the hand. I can't explain the texture. You could probably go to a Home Depot and get some like 120 grit sandpaper, and it feels like that, but it's got a plastic texture to it. So to reference that would probably be the closest thing that I could think of that is similar to the feel that this phone has in the hand. The 5.5 inch IPS display is fantastic. The next thing would be specs. This thing is spec'd out. It has a Snapdragon 801 processor in it. I'm not going to go into detail because you all can locate that stuff, and I'm really not a spec head. I'm more of a usability type guy. Does this thing function within my ecosystem? But I do want to touch on the specs because of the price that you're paying. There's value add there. I mean, I don't know how they're doing it, but they're doing it pretty well. And with that, battery life. This thing took me through a full day. Mind you, I'm not a power user or anything. The Nexus will take me through a full day. So that just gives you some insight to how I use my phone. So I take my phone off the charger around 6 a.m. and then at 2300 or 11 p.m. this thing still had like 42%. That's fantastic. The 3000 milliamp hour battery in this thing was an awesome decision by the design team. The final thing that I really like about this phone is customizability. This is a double-edged sword. This will carry me into my next points of why I think the phone is not for me per se. The fact of the matter is that you can just go to the Google Play Store and install launchers, but that's the same across the board for all Android devices. The thing is that this thing has such granular control over everything that it's absolutely outstanding, the options that you have. If you pick up my OnePlus One and somebody else's OnePlus One, they can be completely different devices and function completely differently. That to me is outstanding if you're into that type of stuff. But again, like I was saying, it is a double-edged sword. The customizability gets in the way for me. And I say this because it gets to a point to where, like I was saying, you can pick up on OnePlus One, my OnePlus One, and another person's OnePlus One, and they function differently. That to me is not a great thing. I understand that this may not be a popular view, but to me it's important. And the success of this is communicated in iOS. Look at that. I mean, people stay in that ecosystem. A big part of it is that they're already invested in the ecosystem, so all the apps that they purchased and whatnot. But the thing is that carries forward to new devices as they continue to improve and release new revisions of the iPhone. That is huge. That's huge to me. When I turned this phone on the first time, it took me, I don't know, 2-3 hours to get it set to where I wanted it to be, essentially mimicking the Nexus 5. I've learned throughout the years that granular customizability, in my opinion, is not the best thing that you can do for productivity. So if you have all these customized versions and things like that, I think it's harder to jump from machine to machine. So for example, if you have a PC that's set up in a way that only you know how to use it, and then you have to jump to another machine, how does that affect your productivity? Is it negative? I would say, because it's slowing down your productivity. So in essence, I'm saying just mold to what they've set forward so you can increase your productivity insofar that you're not wasting time trying to navigate through or change settings or whatnot. I'm a big believer of that, and that just comes from my background. All right, so that's a segue into my next point. Availability. This phone is not available. You have to freaking fight for a freaking invite, which is absolutely ridiculous in my opinion. Just let the people buy it. I understand that there's manufacturing constraints and supply chain issues, but I ordered this thing on a Thursday evening and I received it that following Monday. So they're doing something right in the manufacturing process. What's holding them up? I don't know. But anyways, that's just the con to wanting this phone, is that it's just not available. Here's a big thing that I think everybody should consider that is wanting this phone. Serviceability. What happens if something goes wrong? Where do you take it? There's nowhere to take it. There's really nobody to contact. Who do I contact when I have an issue? So that's another thing that everybody should consider. Is it something that is a deal breaker for you? It may be. It may not be. You know, I like to be able to contact somebody when I have an issue. And the final thing it's not a negative, but it's more of a concern to me. How long will Cyanogen Mod carry forward updates? You know, I purchased the Nexus 5 with the intent because I'm an update fiend. I love updating. I love having the newest version first and all that type of stuff. I'm not gonna lie, I'm that type of guy. What's to say Cyanogen Mod just quits support for the OnePlus One? There isn't a proven track history with OnePlus One and their relationship, and they've had some marketing debacles that Cyanogen Mod went out and said we don't support that. So what's to say they just cut support for this handset and just move forward without updating this phone? This phone will be hung in the wind for updates forever unless you root and do all that type of stuff. And that's another thing. I'm just really not into that. I want to pick up a phone. I want to be able to use it. I want to be able to communicate, whether it be talking, texting, emailing, or Twitter, or whatever it is. I just want to pick it up and use it. I've delved into the environment or the world of rooting and flashing and all that type of stuff. There's just so much management to it, and that's probably one of the downsides of it, is that you basically become your own administrator, and you're the one responsible for continued support of your own device, which some of you may like, and more power to you. I think it's an awesome thing to get into, but it's just not for me. I got the Nexus and I was happy with it just immediately as I turned it on. This, not so much. I turned it on and I was like, dang, I just need to mimic what experience it was that I was so driven to and encapsulated by in the Nexus 5. Again, this phone is great because it allowed me to mimic that, but I'm not completely sold. You can take that or leave it. I mean, that's my opinion. The form factor is another thing. I think 5 inches, 4.7 inches to 5 inches is the sweet spot for me, but that's subjective to everyone because of hand size and preference and accessibility issues or whatever it is that you need. I would give the OnePlus One a +1. It's a great phone. If you can get your hands on it and you're functioning on an older device and you're on T-Mobile or AT&T, I would say go for it. If you can get an invite, go for it. You won't be disappointed. You will be happy with the purchase that you made because there's extreme value add in this thing. I mean, $349 USD for the power that you get is absolutely phenomenal. These guys, I think, are the pioneers of making premium handsets for a lower cost. If they can make these handsets at that price, you're going to get more Android phones in more people's hands. I think Apple should be concerned with this. I think they should really reevaluate their cost analysis or whatever it is in their business model when they're constructing their mobile devices, and think about it. With that, I mean, what do you think about all this? Feel free to leave me a comment down below and tell me I'm full of shit or whatever if I am. I'm not 100% sold on this device. I'm going to continue to use it for a little while longer and to see if it grows on me. That's my first impressions in a nutshell. Feel free to leave a comment down below and tell me, are you looking for the OnePlus One? Is it something that interests you? And if so, why? And if not, tell me what other device would you consider in replacement of it. Oh, and I don't have any invites, so I mean, it is what it is, everybody. I just was lucky enough to get my hands on an invite, so I ordered it just to bring you my true thoughts on it. This thing is an awesome phone, but is it for me? I'm not so sure yet. If you like this video, please leave a thumbs up. If you didn't, leave a thumbs down. I value your feedback, so feel free to comment and ask questions as well. After you're done liking, disliking, commenting, or sharing, go ahead and check out some of my other videos. In addition to that, check out my channel. If you like what you've seen here and what you've seen on my channel, you're more than welcome to subscribe. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video. Take care.